trouser is always sitting exactly where I need to stand. That's just what you do, huh? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my second trimester recap. Now, I have my phone on me because I have notes, and this is interesting. I actually filmed kind of this video. It's a little different now, but I filmed it a couple of weeks ago because I filmed like a 26 or 27 week update. And time went on, the video got a little bit old because now I'm like almost at 31 weeks. And I had some more stuff to say, so not that you need to know any of that, but I decided to refilm and make it more of a second trimester recap. So like I said, I'm almost at 31 weeks now, so I have been in the third trimester now. I think the third trimester technically starts at 27 weeks, which is crazy. And I feel like a full-on pregnant lady now, on a side note, besides the fact that I'm literally in like my sweater overalls and my comfy sweatshirt, but I just feel pregnant. So we're gonna be talking about that a little bit. Not too much though, because I really wanna go back and like summarize the second trimester for you guys and read off my notes and tell you kind of what I've been feeling, what it was like to go through, and all of that. So I guess I'm just gonna jump right in. Okay, so I think the last time I gave an update, and it might have been my first trimester recap, I had not felt baby P kick or move hardly at all. And Dan had not felt any kicking or moving. And it was kind of crazy because I want to say like a week or two after I filmed that, maybe like a week, is when Dan was able to start feeling him. And where I went from feeling like, oh, is that? I think that's him, to like all of the time. The second trimester, it basically, once everybody says once you start feeling the kicking and then you really start feeling it, it escalates fast. And that's exactly what I experienced and what I have experienced. I keep telling my friends that I almost feel like every day or every other day I'll feel new, bigger movements that are like the biggest movements I've ever felt from him. So he's just continuing to grow and get stronger. And that was really one of the biggest highlights from the second trimester, is just noticing the huge increase in movements and the fact that like I was able to really start feeling, oh, there is something alive in me. Like I feel a little mini person swimming around and moving. And I have, besides the fact that my belly has grown significantly, although that's kind of fast forwarding because a huge part of my belly growth has really taken place within the last few weeks. So second trimester, I really didn't grow that much. I really didn't like blow up that much. It's really been now going into my third trimester. I grew, but I think I showed you guys on Instagram, there were still so many days in my second trimester where like I would wake up and if I didn't know I was pregnant, I wouldn't know I was pregnant. Like I would by the end of the day, because this phenomenon happened ever since the very beginning of being pregnant, whereas the day would go on, I would go from being like pretty normal sized to like my belly would bloat up huge. And people have a lot of different theories as to like why and how that happens. Like, you know, just the water retention that can take place because of the hormonal fluctuations that are going on in your body. But now my actual belly, which once again we're fast forwarding, is physically starting to grow. So now it's not, I'm standing on my rug weird, it's driving me insane. There, that's a little better. So now it's not, you know, I mean, it still fluctuates, but it's when I wake up in the morning, I already have a belly. And that really wasn't that way in my second trimester. I pretty much always woke up and had shrunk back down. And the same thing with the kicking. Like as the second trimester went on, it literally like every couple days I would feel more and more movement. And then about maybe like I said, a week or two after I filmed the first trimester recap was when Dan was able to start feeling them. And now like he can feel them, you know, at any time of the day. If I'm just like, come on over, feel, and he's moving, Dan will feel him. And we can see my belly move too, which is actually crazy. Now, something else I wanted to talk about a little bit was my nausea. So things, once again, fast forwarding, are starting to change for me now, but my entire second trimester, I was nauseous. Now the way that it kind of unfolded later in my second trimester was my nausea would pretty much, which is great because first trimester and all the way into like my mid second trimester, I was nauseous all day on and off. And in the beginning, sometimes it would never leave. It was like I had the flu all the time. Thinking about it is actually making me queasy. But the farther I got into my second trimester, I noticed that the timing, like the amount of nausea that I would experience, like the amount of days through the week and through the day was less, but pretty much every day I was nauseous until anywhere from like noon to 2 o'clock-ish. Is kind of where I'd be sitting. Whereas in the first trimester, I was still nauseous and sometimes it was even worse at night and like throwing up at night. I was still throwing up throughout my second trimester. I currently have not thrown up in about 2 to 3 weeks. So I have thrown up in my third trimester, but basically the moral of the story is the farther I've gone along, the more that my nausea has decreased. So it hasn't gone away completely. That whole like, you know, it's just the first trimester, whatever, like was not true for me, but I am not even close to as sick or as tired as I was in the beginning. Things changed, you know, after that first trimester. I will say everybody says that the second trimester is like the super energy trimester. That also was not true for me because I was feeling sick still every single day. But compared to the first trimester, yes, I had much more energy. Like I think pretty much every day during my first trimester, I was taking naps, like on and off throughout the whole day. I slept so much. In my second trimester, I don't even know if I took any naps. So I was a little more back to normal in that sense. I would still be really tired, but I would more function through my tiredness throughout the day, as opposed to like, I can't do this, I have to go lie down. You know, but yeah, I don't even know if I took a single nap in my second trimester. It is ironic though, because people say a lot of the tiredness comes back in the third trimester, which like I said, I never completely abandoned it. Like my mother-in-law would say when she was pregnant, every day at like noon, she would start to get really tired. And that's been true for me, you know, the whole time. Even in my second trimester, it's just I didn't feel the need to take a nap. Whereas like now I'm starting to do a little more lie downs again, which people say happens in the third trimester, where I'm like, I gotta go lie down. But that's because, once again, without skipping too far forward, things are changing now because I'm getting bigger. So we're getting into a different phase of like what is hard. And in the second trimester, it was still mostly nausea, and vomiting. It was really fun. So okay, let me look at my notes. So that kind of leads me into like just pain and discomfort in general. I talked about this a little bit in a video I did recently. I answered 50 questions and I ended up separating the video into 2 parts because I'm a blabbermouth. But people were asking me how my pain has been doing in pregnancy. And, you know, I don't know if this is just like survival, you know, like, I don't know, what are you going to say? No, I think this is a pretty good analysis. Nothing has been over the top painful. A lot of people who've been following me for a long time, you know that one of the many reasons I was hesitant to try and get pregnant, possibly have a baby, was because of all of my joint issues I've dealt with throughout most of my life. And I will say, second trimester is when some serious back pain kicked in, and it was different back pain than I've ever felt, which is why I know it has to do with the pregnancy. It was almost like someone was like ripping apart my lower back, like where I think it's called your sacroiliac or something like that. It's the bottom joints at the bottom of your spine. They like sit right there. It would feel like someone was tearing them apart, like they were just so loose. That has calmed down a lot. I'm still dealing with it, but I've also made a lot of adjustments. So not only am I out of the second trimester, a lot of people say that pain is the worst during the second trimester as your body prepares to stretch. So I'm not only out of that, I've also made a lot of adjustments. This is going to be completely backwards to everything people are told to do, but I'm just sharing my story. Standing this close to the fire was making me hot, and I don't want to turn off my fire because of aesthetics and because it's actually really nice in the house with it on. It's just I'm very close to the fire, so sweater off. Anyways, so I'm not really working out because I started noticing, like observing that this was a very distinct pattern, that working out, no matter what kind of adjustments I made, whether it was shorter or different types of movements, different kinds of exercises, different kinds of squats, always aggravated my back. And I had been weighing it out, kind of trying to decide, like, you know, is the irritation, the inflammation in my back worth this workout even happening? And so one of the biggest adjustments I've made to my life and my pregnancy is, like I said, I'm not working out, but I don't want you to think that I'm not doing anything, because the way that I've kind of shifted my adjustment, well, you can think that, whatever. That's not what I mean. I just don't want to convey like, I'm just not doing anything. I have kind of tried to make my day-to-day activities like my workout. So rather than taking a set amount of time, like I'm working out now, I will find any reason to go up and down my stairs. And pretty much, whereas like in the past, I've maybe been a little lazy, like whether I'm like upstairs with Dan and I say, hey, would you mind going downstairs and getting me, you know, this or that? And he'll just do stuff for me to be nice. I'm never asking that anymore unless I'm in too much pain and I feel like I can't. I'm always the one that's like, oh, you want me to take the dishes down? I'll take them down. Do you want anything while I'm down there? Hey, I can go grab this for you. And I'm kind of trying to find any reason to just go up and down the stairs. I also have a big, you know, round ball that a lot of people call a birthing ball, but a lot of people use that in the place of a chair at their desk. And that's kind of what I've started doing. I will alternate, because if I notice maybe sitting on my ball too much is kind of almost starting to kick up a little more Braxton Hicks. In general, I don't stay in any position too long that seems to be, you know, causing Braxton Hicks. It's like, okay, time to move on to the next position. But that's a way to kind of be a little more active, engage my core. You know, walks. I'll go on walks. And things like, oh, if I need to get a pot from like deep under the sink, it's like, okay, I'm going to set up and I'm going to squat to get that pot. Like I will do it properly. And even things like they're, you know, sometimes, even though I hate getting on my hands and knees and cleaning the floor, sometimes I'm like, I'm going to clean that floor because I need to get on my hands and knees and do some movement. And I have noticed that and there's actually a term for this, people call that the always be moving method. Like there are people that don't really believe in working out. They believe in turning their everyday life into their workout. And I can't say I do or don't believe in that or agree with that. I think that's great. That's definitely what I have adopted though in my day-to-day life since realizing everybody, oh, I thought he was going to walk by. I was going to say hi to Dan. You might hear Dan in the background because he is working extensively on this back room. He's made so much progress. You know that if you watch my day in my lives. But he needs to start making some food. So you might hear him cooking in the background because it's lunchtime. So, I definitely love that method though right now for being pregnant, because I feel like I'm still obviously getting movement that way and making my body move. But I think that the fact that I'm not doing such intense workouts in a short period of time, it's more like spread out throughout the day, is what's helping keep my pain down. Because I just noticed it was like, no matter what I tried, if I did like a set amount of working out, it's like, well, there went my back. And I don't want to be in pain like that, because that just sucks. First off, I don't know what that's doing to my body. And second off, like I mentioned, pregnancy is hard enough already. So yeah, I'm just trying to listen to my own body. And that's something that I really believe in general, in pregnancy and in life, is like paying attention to your own body. I will say on a side note, I am considering starting to implement some arm weights, because even though my legs are getting movement all throughout the day, up and down the stairs, squatting to grab things, whatever, my arms don't really get any working out. And I'm like, I'm going to be lifting a baby soon. And so I'm going to experiment with that a little bit and see if I have any pain from that. I'm inclined to say I probably won't. Whoop. Dan just threw something in the microwave, so if you hear a slight humming in the distance, that's what's going on. I will say I have been using an oil on my back, an oil blend from Young Living called Deep Relief. I've previously used Cool Azul. Cool Azul has been my favorite pain relief cream for a while, but something switched in my body and suddenly I really like the Deep Relief roller. So that's what I've been using. on my lower back, or if like my calves cramp up, which I have not had a ton of muscle cramping. People talk about that a lot. My hips, I've definitely had some hip cramping, and I've had like the beginnings of cramps sometimes in the middle of the night. Like I'll feel like, am I about to get a Charlie horse? And then it doesn't really happen. So I will say I have been taking Epsom salt baths through my entire pregnancy, and I have also been using magnesium sprays or a magnesium spray on my wrist through my entire pregnancy as well. And sometimes people will attribute cramping to a lack of magnesium. So I'm not saying I know, I'm just saying that's one thing I've been doing. And yeah. So as far as my diet goes, I would say, Dan and I debate about this because I think I eat decently, right? Dan's always like, Dan thinks I eat way better than I think I do. Like, he'll get on me, he's like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not going to like fast food places and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I know, but I look more at like, I don't know. I know too much. Like, I've read too much to be like, I'm so picky about everything. So if I were giving myself an honest assessment, I am still having cheat days. I mean, dude, I have a treat. This is what I mean. I have a treat basically every single day. And the treats have changed throughout my pregnancy. Like, my treat recently has been, I don't know if you guys know Newman's Own. It's John Newman's like food brand. I think that's his name. And he makes these organic Oreos, basically. They're so good. That has been my treat recently. So, I mean, it's funny because a lot of people will make comments when you're pregnant, like if you really want something, I don't know, like at a church event or like out to lunch, it's like, oh, I want this. And people will be like, do it. You're eating for two. This is the only time in your life you get to eat like this. And I'm kind of like, I mean, here's how I feel. I feel a responsibility for the person that's growing inside of me. And I don't see eating as just like, oh, just gaining weight. Although my goal this whole time has been to keep my weight gain low because of my joints, like not be carrying around a ton of extra weight if possible. But obviously I'm not trying to like, work on weight loss. Like, I'm pregnant, I need to gain a certain amount of weight to be able to breastfeed and all of that. But I want to feed my body healthfully so that my baby can grow and be healthy, and so that I can be healthy as he's sucking nutrients out of my body. But that being said, I was telling Dan this morning, at the same time, like, I'm just human, and like, when I'm on my period, I want treats. It's kind of the only time really that I emotionally eat, because I actually tend to be one of those people that, like, when I don't feel great or I'm feeling anxious or something, I have a harder time having an appetite. I don't go for food, but when I'm on my period, it's like, I don't feel good, I want chocolate. And that's like what it's been most of my pregnancy. Like, even when I was super nauseous and throwing up, it'd be like, well, I want chocolate. Like, it's so good. And there's a term I've heard floating around in the pregnancy world. They call them like bliss foods, when you give into a craving, you give into something like that. And it really is. So I'm kind of walking that line of like, I want to take responsibility for my child's health. I want to care for him. But also, like, I'm still out here trying to survive. And so, like, yes, I've been having treats. And if I'm being honest, I shouldn't be having a treat every single day. But as Dan has said to me, he's like, well, you're not like, going for McFlurries. You're going for like a couple organic Oreos. So yeah, so that's kind of the situation. I was actually about to, on that note, speak about my blood sugar, because I had that test done recently, but I just realized that's going to be in a third trimester, or like my next video. I'm not going to talk about that in this one, because I've mentioned in my day in my life that I will be talking about that soon. So I will. So yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting in enough protein, enough vitamins and minerals and nutrients. I am still taking a lot of supplements, all of my prenatals, and a bunch of extra stuff as well that me and my midwife, think are a good thing to take. And I'm really trying to make sure I drink enough water. I am a very heavy water drinker, but I've noticed maybe I'm not always as inclined to drink water because I pee so much now. But that is something that I notice if I just ignore the peeing thing and I just keep drinking lots of water, I feel better in general that way. So I'm trying to keep my water intake up super high. I'm still trying to get, as much sleep as I feel like I need at night. I just, like I said, haven't really been taking naps. And yeah, overall, I mean, that's kind of the gist of what my second trimester was like. The highlights, like I said, really were still, you know, pretty nauseous, still was throwing up, and the back pain that kicked in during that second trimester. Now, on that note, I want to show you guys a bump shot, but also I'm in these like baggy, not flattering pregnancy sweats, like, and also I'm like 4 weeks past like this end of the second trimester, so I don't even know like how much you can see. Can you guys see the Bowser's at my feet? I feel like you can't. But that's kind of what's going on. You can see the belly button just like popping through the sweatpants. So one other thing I think I want to say in closing for this video is, you know, it's weird being pregnant because I don't want to complain, right? Like, you don't want to just be complaining to everyone, but I also don't want to just gloss over it either. Like, I don't want someone that's watching to think like, her pregnancy was so easy and mine was so hard. It wasn't easy. I'm just not one of those YouTubers that's very good at like filming when I'm in the throes of emotion. Like, I tend to film afterwards when I've processed things or I've already gone through things. So just know that if you've had some hard days in pregnancies, some crying in the corner, or in my case, crying in the closet moments, I've had them too. It hasn't been crazy emotional for me, like I've mentioned that previously. I will notice that when I'm really uncomfortable now, on a side note, I'll get a little snippier and I'll have to just straight up say to Dan, I'm like, I'm in one of those snippy moods. I just need your help with this and we need to do it now before I escalate. But it hasn't been, you know, my emotions haven't been too crazy, but in terms of like discomfort or having some really low moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is hard, or I just don't want to throw up anymore, I'm nauseous or whatever, I've had those moments. So as a summary, when people are like, has pregnancy been as hard as you thought? Legitimately, my answer is both yes and no. I'm surviving. It's fine. This has been simultaneously the fastest and slowest period of my life ever. It has been so beautiful to feel my son growing inside of me. Like, it trips me out every time he gets hiccups. Like, it is crazy. It's been beautiful, but it's also been hard. So if you're having those moments, like I said, I don't want you to look at me, who has almost borderline the inability to get on camera and like start crying, and think like she's doing great. It's hard sometimes, but I think the thing to remind yourself, and I was just talking to my friend about this today, is that I've noticed that things can change drastically from one day to the next. For example, yesterday, I was like kind of at the end of my rope. Like, I was just kind of like, literally, how am I gonna do like potentially 10 more weeks of this? Like, oh my gosh. And I just felt a little frazzled and just kind of done. And today, I've actually felt a lot better. I don't feel as big today. I don't feel as emotional today. My back isn't hurting as much today. And now I'm kind of like, okay, I'm good, like I'm okay. But that can flip-flop like from day to day. So just, you know, take it one day at a time. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow anyways. So just keep swimming. Try your best to enjoy the things that are good. And in my opinion, the best part about pregnancy is feeling them swim inside of you, because what a trip, am I right? What the heck? We have a person growing in us. Like, it's crazy. And so just try to soak that in, because you have to know logically that there's a really good chance that later in your life, you're gonna look back on this time and probably cry for different reasons and be like, I'm past that point. Like, I'll never go back in time and feel the baby in me. So try to remember that, and then like just slow down and soak in the beauty that exists in feeling a person in you, because I didn't expect to be so blown away by that. You know, you guys know, I didn't even know if I was ever gonna have a biological child. It's not that I didn't think it was a big deal, because I obviously think all life is a big deal, and I was always in awe when my friends did it and like, wow, but I didn't know how big of a deal it was gonna feel for me, how crazy and surreal it would feel. And so I'm trying to just soak that in, and I would encourage you to do the same. And now that is officially the end of this video. So As usual, if you made it all the way to the end, I like to do giveaways within my video because it's a way for me to say thank you to you guys for your continued support of me and my family and my channel, and I receive way more stuff than I could ever use. So we donate a bunch of it, and then I give a bunch back to you guys, and then I, pick the things I want to keep for myself. And yeah, I will hopefully see you guys back here soon with another new video, and that is it. Bye!